Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to try out Cauldron. I saw this on Idle Cub's channel and thought it looked fun. Figured I'd just buy it myself and get it. So, try to cut out as much of the story beats as possible just to kind of keep the story part for this, even though that's not really a super important part of the game from being spoiled. But the short of it is it's a bit of a combination between an idle game, an incremental game, and a turn-based RPG. Although leaning into the idle elements, you can actually go ahead and automate battles and talent selections and all that sort of stuff. So that's where the idle part comes in. There's a lot of stuff that you can automate, but there's also, you do have the option to manually control all of it. So, say one of the ways this game works is the map is covered with black squares, and you'll see those pop up here in just a minute. You have to actually go to each square and finish an RPG fight to actually open up that square and expand the map. As you open up the map, you do things like open up other mini-games. There's a couple core mini-games that we'll talk about in a minute that actually have an effect on your character stats, but most of them are just little mini-games that can go in and help you get extra things like talent points or equipment items. But you can also open up new characters by exposing those squares. And that's how you progress the story, is going through the different squares and running into what are functionally bosses. Now, about the minigames. The one playing in the background right now is the fishing minigame. More or less, you just pick where to drop the hook, and then you try to guide the hook around the bad fish and pick up the good fish. Pretty straightforward, except as you saw when I was coming into this, there's a talent tree. And the talent tree, you need to actually farm up some fish to go through and upgrade some particular stats like boat speed, how fast your hook drops, increase the number of good fish, decrease the number of bad fish. The talent tree is pretty expansive, and that's one thing you'll see pop up over and over and over again in this game. This game has more talent trees than World of Warcraft. Now, that may be a touch of an exaggeration, but every single minigame has an expansive talent tree. Every single character has their own talent trees. There's talent trees within talent trees in this game almost. So if you really like experimenting with talent trees, this will be a game for you. And every single one of the little idle games have their own talent trees like this. So let's jump ahead a little bit. After you've invested a couple points, they just continuously keep getting more and more complicated. As you can see, this is just the fishing one, and I've barely went into it, and it's already ballooned out to have a ton of different options. But every one of them does actually significantly increase your ability to gain resources. And yet again, you'll see that in all the other games. There's a few of them that's actually kind of interesting, like, well, I guess we'll wait and talk about that at the time. But the more talent you unlock, it actually kind of alters the character of each of the minigames to the point where they almost morph into something else. Next minigame that we'll test out is the apple catcher. This one's the one that I was starting to talk about just a second ago, so I just went ahead and kind of deleted some footage and jumped ahead. The thing that's interesting about this one is it starts out like this. Just a really simple little game where you catch apples in a basket and just gain a few points by doing that. Try to avoid the bad ones, pick up the good ones. Seems simple enough. Except when you take a really deep dive into the game, and I'm talking after investing quite a ways into the talent tree, the whole thing morphs to where eventually this basically turns into Galaga. I know you can't really see that right now, but eventually your basket gets so big that it covers the entire screen. The number of bad ones dropping decreases, the number of good apples comes pretty constant, and you actually start spawning enemies at the top of the screen. So you more or less transform this game from just catching apples to Galaga, Space Invaders, whatever you want to call it. As you can imagine, that requires a pretty robust talent tree. This one balloons out even more than the fishing one does once you really start investing some points into it. It just takes a minute to get there. The next game, and the last one that you start out with by default, is a digger game. You have so much stamina represented by your pickaxes, and you just have to dig down and collect rocks that have different point values. Simple enough, except this one's probably one of the ones that's the easiest to really dump a ton of time into without even really meaning to. There's something about it that's actually kind of satisfying, trying to figure out where the optimal spot to start going down is. Not to mention, once you actually do take the time to open up the talent tree and start investing some points into talents, this is one of the ones where you start seeing really rewards for your talent investments much, much faster than you do with some of the other games. Because it expands your initial field of vision, it expands how quickly or how far you can go down into the thing. You can actually open up new ores, you can bump up how deep those ores start out at, so you see a return on your time investment really, really quickly. But what's the point of all these games? Well, I'll explain the point after we take a quick peek at the talent tree as we've expanded it out some. So, as you can see, a couple points invested, and the talent tree starts ballooning out yet again. Massive talent trees just for the idle games. Keep in mind, we haven't played any of the actual RPG part of this game yet. And at this point, I've trimmed this down, but I've probably invested an hour into the game so far. Now, we're going to see why we're doing that. Go over to the Cauldron, and you invest just a couple points, a little bit of resources into it, and that opens up your ability to collect resources in an idle manner, to gain talent points. Like every time you upgrade a box for a particular resource, you actually upgrade, or you get a free talent point. Increases how fast it earns them. Well, not really how fast. The time generation's the same, but it's how much per cycle that you earn. So the idle portion from this comes from farming up enough resources that you can actually just let some time pass, come in, and have a massive amount of resources. For example, I farmed up enough points to expand my boxes enough that basically I took one day off, came back, had enough apples that's how I jumped almost straight from the basket collector to the Galaga style game. So let's take a look at some of the characters and some of the things that are talents associated with them. Like I said, you can manually enter them, or that row on the bottom gives you 2 preset options. And if you click on the presets, it'll just auto-invest talent points for you as you earn them. So you don't even have to worry about opening up the menu. The game will just throw your talent points in the places that goes into that preset build. Or you can go through, read through everything, and then do a custom build yourself. Right now, I have it pretty much set up, even as long as I've been playing, to just do everything automatically. Why? Because I'm playing through the game on normal, so I'm not pushing to a hard difficulty. And a lot of what I've been doing is just going through and clearing out blank squares while occasionally stopping to farm up resources. But as you'll see, you can actually do quite a bit just from with what little bit of interaction that you have on this. The game really doesn't require a lot of micromanagement to be able to beat these battles. Now, the first few fights, I actually did do all the inputs myself. But I also didn't notice that I could just accelerate the matches up to 32 times speed. So this game, realistically, at least for things that are ranked as easy or normal, is not fully meant for you to manually trigger every single ability. Now, if you really want to milk your time out of this game, that would definitely be the way to do it, because it will heavily expand how long you spend playing this. This is where I figure out that you actually have to select the characters and get them in boxes to have them pop up in the battles. There's a few things that it doesn't extremely thoroughly explain, but the thing is, if you die, you just instantly get to restart and retry that particular square. It just kind of kicks you back out to this screen. There's no kicking you back out to the main menu or any nonsense like that. You just go back to the previous screen and you can try again. Which, by the way, when you got the auto battler on, if you know anything about stats, from what I've seen, as long as it's not rated as very hard, that means there's at least a slight chance of victory. Now, granted, I would imagine the harder the fight is ranked, the more likely you are to succeed if you're manually controlling your characters. But even with the auto battler, I've found at least there to be a couple tiles that I could just sit, listen to a YouTube video, and keep hitting enter over and over again until it eventually just won by attrition. So take that for what you will. If you really want to, you can completely go zombie mode on all of the actual fighting portions of the game. It's actually a lot of this, other than the mini games, doesn't really require a whole lot of thought. So let's jump significantly further in the game so you can see what it's like once you actually start filling out your party. And you turn the auto mode on. So, 32 times speed battle with autopilot on all of my characters, including automatically selecting their setup in the game, automatically allocating talent points, and just auto positions. Basically, the whole combat section's automated. At that point, you can pretty well find any tile that's normal or below, and it shouldn't take more than a couple times to get it defeated. There's a few tiles in the game that, for whatever reason, even when they're rated something like easy, just the particular combination of monsters, while you're capable of overwhelming them, the way the PC auto battles won't necessarily go through in the optimal order. By the way, this is also what it looks like when you're opening up characters. You just find someone sitting and sleeping, talk to them, and usually their name will give you some indication of what they do. Now, granted, I have found with the automatic party selection and whatnot, it just doesn't tend to change your party at all. Realistically, is there probably an optimal strategy for every single tile in the game? More than likely. There's a lot of stuff about this that the more manual control you take, the more optimal your strategy is going to become. But, I don't know, I'm having fun with it, playing it as an idle. It's a very pretty game. It's really easy to get into. There's so many different mini games. Like the first three that you start out with that I showed at the beginning, there's not the only ones. You eventually open up a game where it's kind of like a brick breaker, where you're collecting ice cubes. You open up another game in the southeastern corner that is more or less a Vampire Survivor style game. Still not 100% certain what the long-term goal is on that, just because of the fact that I'm so used to playing Vampire Survivor that I suspect there's secret hidden things it wants you to do on the map, which may not be the case. It may just be a resource generator type of game. But either way, it's an idle combat game where all the characters you have opened up are scattered around the map at random, it seems. It doesn't seem like it lets you, it's the same ones every single time. I could be wrong on that, but I've seen it's just sort of a random selection of all the ones you've opened up. And just like the other games, it has a talent tree that seems primarily focused around making sure that you can pick up upgrades a little bit more easily, boosting the rate that you level up, because it does work just like the Vampire Survivor game, where ever so much experience that you pick up, you get to upgrade a skill. One of the talent upgrades boosts the number of skills that you get to select from. By the way, on the screen right now is an exit room. As far as I can tell, that lets you just bail out of the game. I think what the use for that is, if you break it and open it up and it looks like you're getting ready to die, you can dive into that to gain a little bit more resources from the game than what you would get if you just die straight up. So, I don't know. I haven't played it enough to actually get the strategy down for it, because as you can imagine, since it's themed around Vampire Survivor, and you see a little timer down in the corner, the goal on this one, at least I think, is to survive the full time. Now, I say I think because, like I said, I haven't really played it a lot compared to the others. The other ones, one session doesn't last all that long, so you can pop in, get a couple games with it, pop back out, and you're good. Now, another talent actually expands the cart and lets you pick up more people to put in the cart. So, quite a bit of customization. Now, what I what do I think about this game? Overall, I actually have a very positive impression of it. Number one, it's relatively cheap. Number two, the amount of things you have to do in the game is abundant. If you've seen anything in it that you actually think looks fun, even one of the mini games, it's probably worth the price of entry because they're all actually pretty fun to play in and of themselves. I actually think the RPG expansion element in the overworld is probably the weakest element to this game. I think it's really meant to be more of a vessel to run all the mini games. Why? There's way too many features for it that you can automate early on. Now, granted, I'm just playing on normal. You actually have multiple file slots within one save. So, I would imagine they want you to be playing on multiple saves. I haven't completed one whole run of it yet. And from what I have seen, just from looking around a little bit, it seems like there are in fact prestige mechanics that let you affect secondary runs. So, this time around, I'm just taking my time and doing things very, very slowly. The game does seem like it's built like a normal incremental progress game, which means that the more runs you get in, the stronger your successive runs are. But look at this. Look at the size of this talent tree. Yeah, see right there? You can actually see, as you complete game modes, permanent unlocks that you get. I don't know. It's a really fun game with a lot of possible things to do, and it doesn't take a whole lot of thought to do any individual one of them. So if you're wanting something that's just good to shut your brain off and enjoy yourself for a little bit, or even if just any one of the particular mini games in it seems fun to you, you'll probably find some fun with the other ones at the very least. Even just playing the mini games will slowly upgrade your team, since as you gain resources you can buy more talent points. So everything's interconnected. There is a point in doing each one of them, and there's a point in manually going in and doing all of the mini games and not just letting them sit and generate resources. Because it kind of expands how fast your resources will fill up. I didn't mention that, but the rate at which you gather resources is based off of your maximum score from each attempt you've done in the mini games. So there is an incentive to actually go in and manually play occasionally, so that you boost how fast your idle collection system fills up. But would I recommend it? Yeah, absolutely. To be honest with you, probably not going to see a review for something on here that I wouldn't recommend unless I feel the need to warn you against it. Like, if there's something so bad that I absolutely hate it, yeah, I'll take time to put out a little video and be like, yeah, you should just never touch this, it's terrible. But if it's something mediocre, or I feel like my time's been wasted on it, but it's not that bad, or I just personally don't like it, I'm not going to do a video on it. It's not worth my time to edit everything together just to say that. This is a good game. It's a well-structured game, even though everything's kind of split up. Nothing is super exceptional. Like, this is Vampire Survivor-like. It's not the same quality as Vampire Survivor or some of the other games that have come out since then in that same genre. It's just like, if you really want one of the idle fishing game type of games, and that's specifically all you want, you could probably find one specific one for you. I think the big appeal to this is that there's all the interconnected systems, all of them have their own upgrades. So if you like the whole exponential growth in terms of power in a game, this one will give that to you in spades. It absolutely feeds you just strength after strength after strength, and you get rewarded for investing your time in, like your characters and the way you just play the individual games do continue to get stronger and stronger. So yeah, I recommend it, especially if this type of genre is your thing. Now, am I going to do any future videos of it? Probably not. Maybe whenever I get close to beating it, I might actually pop up something that shows what everything looks like once you've got most of the talent trees maxed out. But I'm probably not going to do any more videos on it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to play it. It just means that at this point, I think I've said everything I want to say about it. And from this point out, it'll be something I just play for fun when I've got the time. So, if you've liked what you saw, definitely go pick up the game. It's Cauldron, and it's on Steam. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and leave a comment, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube nonsense. Anyway, you have a good night, and remember, if I can beat it, so can you.